What if Sun Tzu could teach you the secrets that built empires? What if you could access the military secret that built empires? Picture this for a moment. You've just discovered the most powerful war manual ever written in human history. A text that didn't just conquer territories, but shaped the minds of the greatest strategists who ever lived. I'm talking about The Art of War, written over 2,500 years ago by Sun Tzu, a Chinese general who understood something most people still don't get today. The real battle doesn't happen on the battlefield, it happens in your mind. Sun Tzu wasn't just a military commander, he was an archaeologist of human nature, an investigator of the vulnerabilities and strengths that determine success or failure in any endeavor. And here's what fascinates me most as a success archaeologist: his strategies worked for millennia, because they don't just talk about physical warfare, they reveal something much deeper: the internal war we fight every single day. When Sun Tzu wrote, "The supreme excellence is to subdue the enemy without fighting," he was revealing the fundamental code of high performance. It's not about brute force. It's not about outworking everyone else. It's about developing a strategic mindset that makes victory inevitable before the battle even begins. Think about this. How many times have you faced obstacles that seemed impossible to overcome? How many times have you fought unnecessary battles, wasted energy on conflicts that could have been avoided, or missed opportunities because you couldn't see the complete playing field? Sun Tzu discovered that real power isn't about confronting every challenge head-on, but about creating conditions where victory becomes natural, organic, almost automatic. The strategies I'm about to share with you aren't abstract theory. These are principles tested over more than 2 millennia, applied by leaders, entrepreneurs, and high performers around the world. They work because they touch the essence of human behavior, the psychology of conflict, and the nature of competition that exists in every aspect of life. But here's what separates true strategists from dreamers: the ability to think in multiple dimensions simultaneously. While most people only see the immediate present, Sun Tzu taught operating in the past, present, and future at the same time. He studied historical patterns, analyzed the current moment, and created future scenarios to ensure every move was calculated with surgical precision. If you're ready to discover how ancient masters of strategy thought, how they transformed disadvantages into advantages, and how you can apply this ancestral wisdom to dominate your personal and professional goals, then keep watching. What you're about to discover will completely revolutionize your approach to success. Drop strategy in the comments if you want to uncover the secrets Sun Tzu reserved for true strategists. Why did history's greatest leaders study Sun Tzu obsessively? There's a reason why figures like Napoleon Bonaparte, Douglas MacArthur, and even the founders of today's biggest corporations kept The Art of War close at hand. They understood something that separated true leaders from mere dreamers: the difference between reacting to circumstances and creating circumstances. Sun Tzu taught that if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. But here's the insight most people miss. In modern life, your greatest enemy isn't the competition, isn't the tough market, isn't economic crises. Your greatest enemy is your own limiting mental patterns, your impulsive reactions, and your lack of strategic discipline. When I started studying behavioral patterns of history's great strategists, I discovered something mind-blowing. They all unconsciously applied the 5 fundamental pillars that Sun Tzu codified: deep self-knowledge, meticulous environmental analysis, tactical flexibility, execution discipline, and strategic patience. Let me give you a practical example that will revolutionize your thinking. Think about an important negotiation you need to make. Could be a salary raise, a new contract, or even resolving a personal conflict. Most people enter that situation focusing only on what they want to achieve. Sun Tzu would teach you to completely map the other person's mind first. What are their real motivations? What are their fears? What do they value most? When you understand this, you don't need to win the negotiation, you create a situation where both sides win, but you control the outcome. This is the strategist's mindset. While others are playing checkers, you're playing chess. While others are reacting to what happens, you're 3 moves ahead, creating the conditions for things to happen the way you want them to happen. Sun Tzu also taught about timing, the importance of knowing when to act and when to wait. In our instant gratification culture, this is absolutely revolutionary. It's not about being passive, it's about developing the discipline to act at the exact moment when your chances of success are maximized. It's about having the patience to prepare the ground before planting the seeds. High performance doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of a strategic thinking system that considers all variables, anticipates obstacles, and creates multiple routes to the same destination. It's about transforming your mind into a strategic analysis machine that processes information, identifies patterns, and executes decisions with military precision. The greatest strategists understood that victory isn't about being stronger or faster, it's about being smarter, more prepared, and more strategic than everyone else in the game. Comment, timing, if you're understanding the power of thinking strategically before acting. How to apply Sun Tzu's mindset in daily life situations. Now that you understand the philosophical foundation, let's get practical. Sun Tzu said, "All warfare is based on deception." But hold on. I'm not talking about lying or deceiving people. I'm talking about something much more sophisticated. Controlling perceptions and creating advantages through information and strategic positioning. First principle applied. Know yourself with brutal honesty. Sun Tzu taught that you need to take a complete inventory of your strengths and weaknesses. Not the romanticized version you tell others, but the raw, real version. What are your true competencies? Where are you vulnerable? What resources do you actually have available? This brutal self-assessment is the foundation of any solid strategy that can lead you to victory. Second principle, study your battlefield obsessively. If you want a promotion at work, this means mapping the company's internal politics, understanding which metrics really matter, identifying who the real decision makers are. If you're building a business, it means knowing your market better than your competitors know their own product. It's about becoming an expert in the territory where you'll operate. Third principle, the art of strategic flexibility. Sun Tzu said, "Water shapes its course according to the nature of the ground." Your plans need to be solid, but your execution needs to be fluid. When you encounter resistance in one direction, you don't blindly insist, you find another path. This isn't giving up, it's strategic intelligence in action. Fourth principle, speed in execution, patience in preparation. Sun Tzu taught that when you decide to act, you act with devastating speed. But this speed is only possible because you prepared everything meticulously beforehand. It's like a feline hunting hours of silent observation, followed by seconds of explosive action that guarantees the result. Fifth principle, win without fighting whenever possible. In modern life, this means resolving conflicts through strategic communication, outperforming competitors by offering superior value, achieving goals by creating situations where no becomes impossible. It's about being so prepared, so strategic, that your victory becomes inevitable before the battle even begins. The Sun Tzu mindset transforms you from someone who reacts to circumstances into someone who creates circumstances. From someone who fights against the current into someone who redirects the river to flow where you want it to flow. This isn't just theory, this is a complete transformation of how you approach every challenge, every opportunity, every interaction in your life. If you want more content about applying ancient strategies in the modern world, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. What if you started thinking like a master strategic general? The most powerful transformation that happens when you internalize Sun Tzu's teachings is a fundamental shift in your perception of time and space. You stop living only in the immediate present and start operating in multiple temporal dimensions, simultaneously planning in the future, executing in the present, learning from the past. Sun Tzu taught that the skillful general wins without fighting, takes cities without besieging, and overthrows a state without prolonged operations. Translating to modern life, the true master of high performance achieves objectives without unnecessary effort, builds relationships without manipulation, and creates sustainable success without burnout. This happens through what I call opportunity architecture. Instead of waiting for opportunities to appear, you systematically build them. Instead of hoping people will help you, you create situations where helping you serves their interests. Instead of competing in the same game as everyone else, you completely change the rules of the game. Here's a practical exercise that will revolutionize your approach. Every week, reserve 2 hours to think like Sun Tzu. Take an important situation or goal in your life and ask 5 fundamental questions. What are all the forces at play? Where is the real resistance? What's the path of least friction? What resources am I not using? How can I transform my biggest weakness into my greatest advantage? Sun Tzu's genius was in understanding that the human mind has predictable patterns. When you know these patterns, you can anticipate reactions, influence decisions, and create specific outcomes, not through manipulation, but through a deep understanding of human nature and its operating mechanisms. What impresses me most about studying history's great strategists is that they didn't depend on luck, didn't wait for the perfect moment, didn't let uncertainty paralyze them. They created their own opportunities through meticulous preparation and calculated strategic action. The Sun Tzu mindset isn't just about winning, it's about constantly evolving, about becoming someone for whom success is a natural consequence, not an accident. It's about building a life where you don't just react to what happens, but actively shape what happens around you. When you master these principles, you don't just improve your results, you fundamentally change who you are. You become someone others naturally want to follow, want to do business with, want to learn from. You become a force of nature that attracts opportunities, resources, and people. This transformation doesn't happen overnight, but when it does, it's permanent. You'll never go back to being someone who simply reacts to life. You'll become someone who commands life. If this content is impacting how you think, share it with someone who needs to discover these secrets too. And drop "Master" in the comments if you're ready to start thinking strategically in all areas of your life.